Now, criminal penalties for non-compliance. People should go to jail if they don't use the system. They should at least pay heavy fines. Heavy fines. People should be dismissed from their jobs if they fail to do that in the government sector. Why do I say this? Because without criminal penalties, nothing will happen. It's our experience. We have put some good laws in the books today, okay? But nobody uses them. Question every politician running for every office. Will they support mandatory E-Verify? There's a couple of other questions that we think that they ought to be involved with as well. Then you go about electing the favorable types. You're not going to be able to do much about Washington. Okay? You're just not. But you're going to have a lot more effect doing something with the county commissioner, mayor, councilman, state legislators. There you can have a bigger impact. If every Tea Party around the state would do this, I can guarantee you we'd be doing more about illegal aliens in Florida than is being done now. Now, some of the other things that we can do. Promote strongly. We must fight vigorously in addition to that English as the primary language, or the only official language. Right now, if you're not providing it, the future is going to be coming. The future is written in stone at this point. You will have to print ballots in Spanish, and in some areas you will have to provide interpreters. And we know for a fact, well, I can't prove it, put it this way. I know it, I think it's a fact, but I can't make it a fact that will stand to scrutiny. But we know that the last election, that at least several million illegal aliens voted. We know that. The replacements for Acorn were out there registering people in every state. And they didn't care if you were this big, whether you're white, purple, orange growing out of your head. They didn't care. They registered everybody, and they registered some of them 15 times. Okay? They also give them free Obama phones. And they outsmarted us, they outcheated us, and they outworked us. That's how they won in 2016. And that's how they're going to win again. Because they're going to outcheat us, they're going to outsmart us, and they're going to outwork us. Unless we all get very active. All sheriff's departments to legally resist federal intrusion. You know your sheriff has the right to demand that a federal agent leave. I can tell you that we had after taking our country back, we had the Charlotte County and Sarasota County sheriffs there, and to say the least, I was greatly disappointed.
That's right.
They're not patriots.
No, they're not.
Amen.
I think we can replace them if we want.
Amen.
All right. Oppose in-state tuition for illegals. What's going to happen is, in-state tuition for illegals, driver's licenses, welfare, voting rights for illegals, any benefits that keeps them here. In California, the handwriting, this is the handwriting in the wrong. California and Maryland. California gave them the driver's licenses. They gave them the right to vote in some of the states. They gave them, in California, they can serve in juries. They can be lawyers. They're legal aliens. Okay? They have no legal right to be here, and they have the right to sit in your trial. If somebody accused you of something, what do you think the chances are of an illegal alien finding you not guilty? Not much. Tea Party leadership. We need every group to have an immigration committee. How many people here would serve on an immigration committee? Okay, good. There you go. All right, what will the committee do? One of the things that we need to do, we need to go to the Chamber of Commerce and complain. We need to go to the state legislator's office or the congressional offices and protest. One of the greatest things that we're doing right now in Maryland and some of the other states, we have overpass projects where we have banners out there, banners that people are holding up. We have registration drives, again in areas that we think we can make a difference. We have people that show up and make a general pain in the rear end of themselves to a lot of the politicians. Organized protest groups. You can also go to where in construction projects where every worker there is probably an illegal alien. You can find them; they're easy to find. The Chamber of Commerce offices. Trust me, the Chamber of Commerce is your enemy. I haven't even gone into the trade policy. How that screws the average American. Spread the other word to other Tea Party groups. Now, we also have some other things that we're doing. We support the National Day of Remembrance. We started that with Congressman Steve King. We were at a press conference with Congressman Wally Jones of North Carolina and Steve King of Iowa, and we had the press releases all there. We had all kinds of dignitaries, including my humble self, and the press was there, and then they packed up and left. They were there, and they covered. Because the media are controlled by, I hate to say this, but I think they're controlled by the Bilderbergers. We must oppose any form of amnesty or any path to citizenship, because it'll end up being amnesty. What Obama is doing now is perfectly illegal. What he's doing now with his administrative amnesty is an illegal act. Nobody's calling him on it yet. We will continue to provide national leadership. Now this is one of the things that we're doing. We're also doing the thing for the Stolen Lives Quilt, and they're called the Remembrance Project. So if you want to have more information about that, you'll send us an email. Now, I'm going to go to and talk about successes that Tea Partiers have had and will continue to have. And you can do this. We would not be having this conversation today if it weren't for people like you and me and the people on your board here. We have been in the past very successful. How many people, Luke? Picture. That one.
Okay. Come down to job.
All right. How many people were here? Anybody? Okay. Well, what was that like? I took 500 down. Because Pennsylvania's not that far. Somebody had their hand up in the back over here. Who? You went?
Yeah.
How was it?
I went. It was fabulous. I'll never forget it.
Right. It was the day that America changed. Hopefully for the better. It isn't done yet. We would not be standing here today if we hadn't been here. And we went down again for the Kleinbeck thing a year later. Ann and Luke helped me to put that together. Ann and Luke helped me put this together. You have other Anns and Lukes in this organization here. Together, working collectively, we have made a difference. And we continue to make a difference. But we must be working a little harder than we're working right now. Because I'm 69. And I don't know how many people are within 5 years of my age in here tonight, but I would say it's probably a majority. We need more like that young fellow in the back over there, and some of the young people up here. Okay? We need more of those people in the Tea Party meeting. I would say there's probably more young people here at this meeting than in some of the meetings I've had as a percentage. So I want to end up saying thank you very much. I've enjoyed being here tonight. And how much time do I have for questions? Okay. Any questions?
had the sheriff, if we did have the sheriff come for a meeting, what should we ask them? To find out whether they are dangerous or not.
Okay, one of the questions I asked the sheriffs was this. In the event that the United Nations passes the Small Arms Treaty, and the United States becomes a signatory of it, either by interpretation or by action of the Senate, which is in the former is a distinct possibility, whether they would continue to support our right to bear arms. And what they both said is, we will follow the law.
Right.
That gives you your answer right there. They need to be fired.
Absolutely.
Anybody else? Any other questions? Go ahead.
Did you see on drugs where Boehner today announced he was not going to go for amnesty? Did you believe him?
No.
Okay, I don't either.
We do not think that, one of the things that you got to understand, there's a whole industry devoted to illegal aliens and immigration in Washington, D.C. Numbers USA on our side, Center for Immigration Studies, FAIR, NAFO, well, mostly FAIR and Numbers USA, CIS, are the big ones. Now, Ann, could you pass that thing around? The things that anybody wants to be on our mailing list, because that way.
I think there needs roads on.
Okay, make sure that everybody gets it. Anybody wants to get her email and update. If the Congress were to pass some kind of amnesty legislation, where would they get their money from to pay those big fat salaries they get? So even on our side, the chairman of the Numbers USA, he makes about, he and his son together make about $500,000 a year. Dan Stein with FAIR, I think he probably makes about $250,000 to $350,000 a year. So on the other side, there's a whole myriad bunch of people being paid by the Koch brothers, and George Soros. There's a whole myriad of people on being. Where would those people get their money if they pass amnesty legislation? And as part of any amnesty agreement, there probably is going to be some kind of feint towards building a fence. So when they talk about amnesty, it's a big signal to Mexico and Guatemala to send more people. Now, just in case you don't think that the Mexican government is involved in this thing, I told you that the Mexican president told his people to come over here. They provide a interactive website to show people that's hooked up to a GPS system to show people how better to and where the easiest is to come across. They provide water and what have you, and aid and comfort for the people that come illegally sneak into the United States. Go ahead. We'll have one other question.
What is the current status of the E-Verify program?
Well, everybody's supposed to use it that wants to use it, but they can only use it for people that are currently that are new employees. They can't use it. They are not, by law, are not allowed to use it for current employees. I'll take one more. Yes.
Well, I just have a comment to you. I'd like to thank you for telling the truth. It's not easy to tell the truth about the Chamber of Commerce. It's like the elephant in the room that most Tea Party and Republicans don't want to talk about, but they are definitely our enemy, not our friend. And Foxy News Media is also not our friend. They are promoting this agenda by their silence. It's not what they say that is so dangerous, it's what they don't say.
Yeah, we've experienced a news blackout for the past 2.5 years by all the major media. All the major media news blackouts. By the way, the Koch brothers, however you pronounce it, they're funding groups to take over the Tea Party. Just so that you know, They actually have people being paid to infiltrate tea parties around the country to prevent them from being a thorn in the Republicans' butt. Right.
It happened 4 years ago in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, there you go. Well, thank you all for having me here tonight. I enjoyed it. If you want to stick around and ask me questions afterwards, please pick up a brochure on the way out.
We're actually passing around the sheet right now. You can make a difference starting right now. If you want to be on the immigration committee, you need your name, and phone number, okay?
Okay, and somebody from your group, if you will have whoever wants to run that group participate in the weekly national poll, send me an email. My email, by the way, I don't think we put it on there. Is my email on there? Okay, it's liberty9133@hotmail.com. I have only 5 emails that I check. That's the one I check more often. I don't normally give that out to big groups like this, but liberty9133@hotmail.com. So have one person from your group be designated to, it's Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, it's a very fascinating discussion, very important discussion. I've always thought that immigration was part of the New World Order. It's one of the 3 legs of the New World Order: immigration, economics, and NATO. So, incredibly important. Okay, we have the announcement about the immigration sign-up sheet. That'll be in the back. We'd appreciate that. If you're interested to sign up, thank you very much. Next, we need a motion to approve the minutes from the prior board meeting. I believe the minutes are in front of you. If you have any questions, we need a second on that motion. Motion's approved. Next, Paula, our new treasurer, used to sing Bill to that. She's going to give us a report.
Just very quickly, we started out the month with $2,119.71. We deposited $149. All of that was from last month's meeting. We spent $340. $150 of that was the donation to the American Patriot News, and $190 was for our March meeting at Bayfront. We will get 40 of that back.
Okay, we need a motion on the floor to approve the treasurer's report. Second. Okay, so moved. Well, you need the old business now. Paul is going to give an update on the meeting location change. Well, obviously, this room's getting kind of small. The group's getting bigger. That's a good thing. And because of that, we're going to need a larger room, a larger location. And Paul will give us an update about that.
Okay. How many people already email and know about what's going on with Bayfront? Okay, just very quickly, starting with the general monthly meeting, we will go to Bayfront beginning in March. At the March meeting, there will be a speaker, and it's Adrian Wiley, who is the Libertarian candidate for governor for the state of Florida. So that should be an interesting evening. And then our regular monthly meetings will be held there, and we still have prepaid nights out here, and we're going to use those for either candidate sessions or speaker sessions, so we don't have the general meeting run so long. We'll end up having 2 meetings a month, basically. One will be business, the other will be speakers.
Thank you, Paula. Next, we're going to get into fundraising and raffles for firearms. In the past, we've had that. I was involved in the first one that we did as one of the first ways we raised money, and that was one of our largest fundraising events. I'd like Lou to talk about that a little bit, give us an update. I know he was involved in the last couple, and we're going to need, I'll just kind of tie this into the early new business, we're going to need somebody to head up fundraising, to help us with fundraising. That's very important. I've helped out quite a bit in the past, and will continue to do so. but we need somebody to kind of help coordinate that effort. If you have a background in fundraising, that would be very helpful. Anybody who would like to volunteer, we greatly appreciate that. If you are interested or you have questions regarding that, please feel free to ask me or Lou after the event.
Thank you. Very brief. We had successful gun show raffles and raffles last year. This year we are looking for somebody, or a couple people to get together and start pulling it together. Where we stand, we have worked with Mike and Paul and others, have worked with several gun stores, Point Blank, Army, Navy, and A&H, three that we've been working with. In some cases we got the guns donated, in other cases we have paid at cost the guns, alright, so that cost us a little money. But there are plenty gun shows in the area. Fort Charlotte, Venice, Fort Myers, North Fort Myers. So we're looking to get a couple people that want to coordinate that. Mike, Paul, and myself will be happy to help them out. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lou, for all of your support. Let's give Lou a big round of applause for all the work that he's done. His work has really been just absolutely invaluable. The reports that he does on local government are just outstanding, and we need like 100 more of him. So if we could clone him, we would clone him. Maybe take 20 years off of him to get a little more out of him. Okay, next, Tax Day Rally. Paula, if you'd like to talk about that, thank you.
The events group scheduled a national April 15th rally at Lashley, and then we got to talking about it, and Mike said, why have it outside? Because we always get caught with the rain and everything. So I called the lady at Bayfront, and our April 15th rally will be at Bayfront. And for anybody who doesn't know where Bayfront is, it's at the west end of Gilchrist, so it's real easy to find. It's an excellent meeting place. Bob and a bunch of the guys have been there for a while, so you can be looking for information on that, and it will be from 5 to 7, so mark your calendars, please. One thing I didn't say about money is Mr. Medic donated a coin to us quite a while ago. We still have that. It's a gold coin, so we're waiting for the spike.
If you hold gold long enough, it always goes up. $35 in 1972, so it's a good way to say it. It's a real good way to say it. Okay, next we have the State Oversight Committee, and that is Joan. If you could give us a brief update. Do you have anything to update us on?
Okay, basically what I was going to do this evening is introduce my committee. We haven't had our first meeting yet. We're having it Saturday night. And on the committee with me is our newest member, Debbie Donaldson, the Bulls, and Mike Meta. There's the three of us. Now, if there's anybody out there who would like to work on the state committee with us, please let me know. We'd love to have you. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. A local update, Lou. Could you give us an update on local activity?
Again, some of you may not aware, I attend the Board of County Commission meetings, and by the way, we did ask a couple of the sheriffs that were running, and the one that answered it correctly, that they would stand between us and the federal government, didn't get elected, unfortunately. Romel, no. All right, as far as the county commission meetings, Phil's going to talk a lot more about Sunshine Lake. There were two meetings since our last meeting. The major expenditure was renovations to parking facilities to the tune of about $594,000. I don't understand why at a later date you got to renovate and fix up parking facilities to adopt the ADA. ADA is a requirement that's been there and should be followed all the way through. The other item, one other item, in the January 28th meeting, again, talks about Sunshine Lake. Several people have been up there in front of the podium and talking about Sunshine Lake. It's a sewer. Not really, but it acts like a sewer in Parkside. Right? It's had a bid out for $2.4 million for the first project. Then now they come back and they want $1.125 million for an amendment. Right? I stood up in front of the board, and this is our problem with the board. We don't get answers. I stood up there and I said, all right, if you sign this amendment, 1.125 million, what is the condition of Sunshine Lake and Sunrise Waterway at the end? And number two, what caused the problem to begin with? You have not identified that. Did not get an answer from any of the commissioners, or from county administrator, or whoever. So the bottom line is, you all that are in Charlotte County, all right, are going to get hit with more and more and more, because it's not going to be done. I spoke to the contractor who was at the meeting. I said, well, where do you stand on this project? He said they got 154 days, and when the 154 days are over, we're out of here. Okay. All right. So, think about, we've made some improvements. We've made some headway with the commission over the last couple of years. They now, whenever they have amendments to a contract, they put the original price of the contract on the agenda. A $10,000 amendment to a contract that had its original as $300,000 is nothing. But a $382,000 contract amendment to a $300,000 contract, that's significant, okay, and should be worked on. So there are problems within the county on contract administration, and I'll let Bill take it from there, because we have a whole program to fix the problem. Thank you.
Next, Bill Vanillo is going to give us a further update on some local activity.
You need a microphone, Bill?
No, I don't. I've lived here for 5 years, and for about 4 years I've been a member of the Tea Party. I've been very active, as most of you know. Last month was probably the worst month that I have ever seen in this county. And a lot of things happened, and I'll get to them right now. You may recall we formed the Agenda 21 committee last January, a year ago. I was on that committee, and Fred Bell, who's been ill lately, was the chairman. And we have 7 members of that committee, and I've told you that we've looked at Smart Charlotte 250, all the code ordinance, all that stuff. But as an offshoot of that participation in that committee, for the past year, I have been exposed to what has been happening in Sunrise Waterway and Sunshine Lake, which are both located in Parkside. This is an absolute economic or environmental disaster. People are sick. The cost now has risen from thousands of dollars to $4 million. And I'm telling you right now, the new contract that they just agreed to sign and pay out will bring it up to around $3.7 million. And I'm telling you right now, there's millions more to go here. This is a cover-up, in my estimation. And I started looking at this. When I found out what was going on here, I started talking with a lot of people, and I started looking at scientific reports, water samplings, all that stuff. I talked to the activists in there that were sounding the alarm since 2009. We did a lot of work on this. And it was just because I was a citizen I got interested. But then our board decided that we would allow or not, we would ask, I should say, the members that we have, and we sent out emails to about 1,200 people, that we would allow them, and we wanted them to vote on what we would, the board and the Tea Party would do in the next year. We gave them probably 13, 14 things that they could do. We told them we'd take the top 3. And since I got exposed to the Sunshine Waterway and all the mess that was going on there, I sort of threw in, fire the county administrator. And that was one of the 14. And lo and behold, after all the votes were in, we took the top 3, and the third one was fire the administrator. And guess who got the job? So I started really putting this whole Rubik's Cube puzzle together on this. I had several reasons that this administrator ought to be asked to resign or get fired. It's all for cause, not just because we don't like him, because we don't think, he's doing a good job in overall. Okay, so the thing that triggered my latest episode with this was we found out that the dredger that they had hired in December 2012, Proline out of Michigan, ran out of their contract, which is $2.5 million. And this was last summer. And they told the administration that they needed a change order of $1.1 million to finish the job. Because they said, the contract said, there was so much to be dredged out, like, I think it was 30,000 cubic yards, whatever it was double that now. And so they said, we're out of money, and we need more money to finish this job. That was in July last year. And the administration got that request. They sat on it until, I think it was middle of December, last December. Didn't even tell the commission that this was what has to happen. And so there was, the administration wrote this contract for the dredging, and it's terrible. I mean, there is conflicts all over, it's badly written, it's just awful. And so there was fights between the dredger and the administration constantly going on. And finally, the dredger kept saying, well, have you approved the contract yet? No. Well, then they said, we're not going to dredge anymore. So we stopped. And so here we've got the a water condition that a company called Atkins, Water Specialists, PhDs, all that, had been hired not by the administration, not by the commission, but by the MSBU. Because the activists in the area went to the administration, they didn't want to hear about it. Went to the commission, they didn't want to hear about it. So they went to the MSBU, who's got responsibility for the channels, the water channels. So the SBU went out there, and they looked at what was going on, which is, you can believe me, awful. There's up to 10 feet of mat, algae mat, some of which is toxic, in that waterway. 10 feet. And so MSDU said, well, God, we got to get someone out here to tell us what's the matter. So they hired Atkins, paid him $40,000. Atkins said, this is the worst water disaster we have seen in 50 years, and we've been doing this in Florida. The worst. My farm. Okay, so, I'm not gonna get into, I gave you a handout today of my little speech in front of the commission on January 28th, where I asked that Ray Sandrock resign, and he was sitting right up there. And I said, if Ray doesn't resign, you ought to fire him. We demand you fire him. And I was looking at their faces and wow, they couldn't believe what we were hearing. So I'm their newest enemy. Okay, and where we're at right now, and so that was it. When I found out that they had not even bothered to process this change order, I said, this is enough malfeasance now, and I've collected 600 maybe emails of complaints to the administration, to the MSDU, to the Charlotte County Utilities. I mean, everybody and their mother is involved with this, and nobody will admit it's a problem. It's unbelievable. And we've spent nearly $4 million, and it's still not a problem. So, needless to say, right where we stand right now is not one of the commissioners, not one of them, 5 of them, believe that Ray Sandrock is the cause of this, even though I have given them chapter and verse, prima facie, irrefutable evidence of his malfeasance and his total ignorance, ignoring people's complaints, not doing a fix that would have controlled this thing from really proliferating. Because Atkins said this is the fastest growing algae problem we've ever run into anywhere. Okay, so we're in the position here that now I believe the commission is now hunkering down and protecting them. And so we feel that what we have right now is we're fighting the establishment of this county. We have to change, and I'm going to get into the Black Swan event, which I considered happened last month. I'll get to that a little later. That's even worse. Well, not worse, it's equally as bad. So we need everybody in this room to participate in this. We met last Monday, and what we have decided that we have to put maximum pressure on these politicians, the 5 of them, and on Sandrock. And that's what we're doing. We are bombarding them with questions. I just did one last night. I said, this water's been flowing out of the Sunrise Waterway through